this is not technically an arrest, it's an abduction. An arrest is made by the police within its own jurisdiction. The US doesn't have jurisdiction within Venezuela. And this is an abduction where a head of state has been kidnapped and taken across to the US. The US doesn't have any jurisdiction over the matter. The courts where the president will be tried doesn't have jurisdiction in this case. So it's a brazen violation of international law by a power that has the military power. It has the capability to go in and abduct the president and his wife. That is what the international order has been reduced to now. The U.S. itself has been giving, the U.S. being the President Trump, because nobody else in the U.S. has been making any statements. President Trump has been giving both reasons, that narco-terrorism, actions against the U.S., and also the oil factor. And I think he's also mentioned about Venezuela's internal condition as well, the repressive policies of the government. But it seems that what he has settled on now is staking claim to the oil reserves of Venezuela. Because, frankly, while there is a lot of narco-terrorism from Latin America, in which the U.S. is also implicated, the fact is that from Venezuela, there is not much report. There are other countries in Latin America which have been involved in this and have been accused of cocaine smuggling. Not so much Venezuela. So if action has to be taken against any particular country, it would be the other countries other than Venezuela. Venezuela has its own internal problems, but it is fairly rich in oil resources. So its poverty is a problem of its mismanagement, for which its internal problems are responsible. And the most interesting thing is that President Maduro had offered to cooperate with the US and have talks to address its problems. So it's very strange that President Trump should have gone ahead and abducted this person in violation of international law, but that is how President Trump is. The US is a permanent member of the Security Council, so it will veto any resolution against it. The Security Council is itself based upon a very unfair and undemocratic principle of 5 permanent powers, each of them having a veto. And these 5 permanent powers have always been violating international law with impunity all these years. So the Security Council has been an important body for almost all its existence, and certainly for the last 14, 15 years, it has done absolutely nothing in the case of the various wars that have been taking place and the violations of international law by the big powers. India's response is in line with its attitude and its responses to earlier such violations by the big powers and by other countries. India did not condemn Putin's invasion of Ukraine. India was fairly mild in whatever it said about Israel and Gaza. There are other threats and violations of international law being committed by the big powers, and India has been generally very reticent in taking up an upfront position on this. That is India's policy. One can agree or disagree with it, but that's the position. As far as the impact on India is concerned, I don't think it should have much of an impact because our trade relations with Venezuela are very limited. The oil is the major export of Venezuela. We don't have too many exports to Venezuela. So I don't see much of an impact on us. But yes, the fact that a superpower has violated international law with such impunity has to be looked at very seriously, and its impact on the overall state of the global order, which is in very bad shape. But now we are looking really at the precipice, because we have the 3 superpowers in the world today, China, Russia, and the US, all behaving in an extremely aggressive manner. So what impact this will have on the global system, that will have to be looked at very carefully, because after all, as a country that wants peace for its own development, we will be impacted by all these international developments. This is just the kind of thing that we have to watch out against, because these big powers, they realize that they can get away with anything. Now, America has no right to tell us where to import our oil from. There is no UN sanction on Russia. So if we import from Russia, whether oil or anything else, it is not in violation of any international law. These are American sanctions, and America has imposed sanctions in a very haphazard manner. America itself is importing from Russia. Europe is importing from Russia. It's just that President Trump has this fixation of some kind with India and buying oil from Russia. And that is his personal whim, and we have to deal with the matter. And then I suppose we have to balance our interests with the US and with Russia and see where the balance of interest lies. But the fact is that this is a bullying behavior, and as the big powers realize that they can get away with this kind of behavior, they are indulging in this behavior increasingly.